In the early 19th century, tales of savage lands and untamed wilderness captured the imaginations of many, but none were as chilling as the story of the Boyd Massacre. This event, a horrifying collision of cultures, left an indelible mark on history. A brutal slaughter that saw a ship's crew fall victim to unspeakable violence and cannibalism at the hands of an aggrieved Maori tribe. What began as a routine voyage across the seas soon descended into a nightmare, revealing the deadly consequences of arrogance and mistreatment. The Boyd, a British brigantine, was no ordinary vessel. Its timbers had weathered the harshest of storms, and its sails had carried convicts across the treacherous waters to the fledgling colony of Australia. Under the command of Captain John Thompson, a veteran mariner known for his strict discipline, the Boyd had completed its mission of transporting prisoners to Australia. But rather than return to Britain, the ship set a new course for New Zealand, a land of myth and mystery, rumored to be rich in the valuable timber so highly sought after by the Empire. The Boyd's crew, a mix of seasoned sailors and freed convicts, numbered around 70 souls. Among them was a young Maori named Te Ara, the son of a powerful chieftain who had been working aboard whaling ships in the southern oceans. Te Ara had seen the world beyond his homeland, but now he was returning, yearning to reunite with his people. However, his journey home would not be a joyous one. It would be marred by cruelty, humiliation, and a burning desire for revenge. As the Boyd sailed through the vast expanses of the Pacific, tensions began to simmer. Te Ara, once eager to serve, found himself at odds with the ship's officers. The reasons for the conflict are lost to time. Some say Te Ara refused an order. Others claim it was the accusations of theft made by the ship's cook. But whatever the cause, Captain Thompson decided to make an example of the young Maori. In a display of power, Te Ara was tied to the ship's anchor, deprived of food and water, and mercilessly whipped in front of the crew. The punishment was severe, intended to break his spirit, but instead, it ignited a fury within him, a fury that would soon lead to unimaginable bloodshed. Swallowing his rage, Te Ara pretended to accept his fate, carefully biding his time. He worked diligently, regaining the captain's trust, all while plotting his revenge. As the Boyd neared New Zealand, Te Ara saw his opportunity. He convinced Captain Thompson to sail into Wangara Bay, a place he described as teeming with the precious timber they sought. Eager for profit, the captain agreed, unaware that he was sailing straight into a trap. Wangara Bay, with its serene waters and lush green hills, appeared to be a paradise, but beneath its beauty lurked a deadly danger. As the Boyd anchored, Te Ara seized his chance and swam ashore, disappearing into the dense forests. There, he found his village and recounted his harrowing ordeal to the tribal elders. In Maori culture, an attack on the chieftain's son was an attack on the chieftain himself, a grave insult that demanded swift and brutal retribution. The elders, enraged by the mistreatment of their kin, devised a plan to exact revenge on the Boyd and its crew. Te Ara's suffering would not go unpunished. The ship's entire crew would pay the ultimate price. The tribe's warriors, fierce and skilled in battle, prepared for the assault. They extended a seemingly friendly invitation to Captain Thompson and a group of his men, proposing an expedition up a nearby river to inspect the timber. Unaware of the deadly plot, the captain accepted. The journey upriver was calm at first, with the crewmen admiring the untamed beauty of the land. But as they ventured deeper into the wilderness, the atmosphere shifted. Suddenly, from the shadows of the forest, the Maori warriors struck. With clubs and spears, they fell upon the Europeans, their attack swift and ruthless. The men of the Boyd, outnumbered and unarmed, stood no chance. They were beaten to death, their bodies later dismembered and consumed in a ritual of retribution. Back at the ship, the crew awaited the return of their captain, unaware of the horrors unfolding just a few miles away. As night fell, figures emerged from the darkness, the Maori warriors, now wearing the clothes of the slain sailors. In the dim light, the Boyd's crew, thinking their comrades had returned, allowed the warriors aboard. It was a fatal mistake. The Maori attacked with ferocity, cutting down the crew before they could react. Blood soaked the deck as men screamed and fought for their lives, but resistance was futile. Within moments, the Boyd was a scene of carnage, the air thick with the stench of death. A few fortunate souls managed to escape the slaughter, hiding in the ship's rigging, clinging to the masts as the screams of their crewmates echoed around them. They remained there, trembling with fear, until the first light of dawn. But their ordeal was far from over. As they descended, hoping to find safety, they were met by a new group, warriors from another tribe, led by the chieftain Taipahi. Taipahi, seeing the survivors' plight, offered them refuge, gathering them onto his canoes and setting out for his village. Yet even in their flight, the survivors were not safe. The Wangara tribe, hungry for further vengeance, intercepted Taipahi's canoes, seizing the captives. The survivors were taken ashore, their fate sealed. Among them was the ship's second mate, who managed to prolong his life by producing fishing hooks for the tribe. But when he could no longer fulfill their demands, he too was killed and consumed, his life ending in the same savage manner as his comrades. Meanwhile, Taipahi, seeking to recover gunpowder from the Boyd, returned to the ship. In a tragic twist of fate, his attempt to access the armory led to a catastrophic explosion, killing several of his men and scattering the remains of the once proud vessel across the bay. The explosion marked the final destruction of the Boyd, its broken hull a grim monument to the massacre that had taken place. News of the massacre spread quickly to the colonial settlements, sending shockwaves through the region. Tales of cannibalism and ruthless slaughter filled the air, instilling fear in the hearts of those who heard them. The British were outraged, and a rescue mission, led by Captain Alexander Barry, was swiftly organized. With the backing of armed forces, Barry sailed to New Zealand, determined to rescue any remaining survivors and punish those responsible for the atrocity. Negotiations with the Maori were tense and fraught with the threat of further violence, but in the end, the remaining captives were released, and the chiefs responsible for the massacre were stripped of their leadership. However, the cycle of vengeance was not yet complete. A group of whalers, fueled by rumors and seeking their own brand of justice, mistakenly attacked Taipahi's village, slaughtering its inhabitants in a bloody act of retribution. Taipahi, who had tried to save the Boyd survivors, was killed in the violence, his efforts to broker peace ending in his own tragic death. The Boyd Massacre sent a wave of terror across Europe, its horrific details immortalized in the annals of history. The Maori, once feared as fierce warriors, became known as cannibals, their lands dubbed the Cannibal Isles. The tale of the Boyd, with its dark themes of revenge and cultural misunderstanding, served as a grim reminder of the dangers that lay in the unexplored corners of the world. For years to come, sailors and settlers alike would speak of the Boyd Massacre in hushed tones, warning each other of the perils that awaited those who ventured too far into the unknown. The mistreatment of Tara by Captain Thompson had set off a chain of events that led to a tragedy remembered for generations, a haunting example of how a single act of cruelty could spiral into a blood-soaked nightmare.